What's up, y'all, and welcome back. Today we'll be talking about the aftermath of this White House Correspondents Dinner attack. A lot of people are talking about turning down the temperature on political discourse, and I think we're starting to get into the hypocritical realm when it comes to certain discussions out there. So I want to show y'all this video and provide y'all with my opinion as usual, and I hope y'all enjoy it.
It is sort of this uniquely American moment that we have a violent act with a gun, with a person who's clearly deranged. Then there's the partisan finger pointing. And now we're kind of back where we always are. I mean, is it fair to take this incident, say that it's the Democrats' fault, and if you're a Republican, never question or criticize President Trump for his rhetoric?
Abby, I think that political rhetoric has gotten too coarse across the board. I think that today in America, I think there's just simply too much vitriol that's exchanged. But I do think it's reality that there's been 3 assassination attempts on this president's life in the last 2 years. And I think that there has been a heightened amount of rhetoric that's been coming out of the left in recent days. And so I think it is appropriate for us to ask everybody.
And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the hypocrisy that's coming from the Republican Party when it comes to things. They love to point out the issues that's coming from the left, of course, but they ignore the issues that's coming from their own leader in the White House. When it comes to certain things that he said, when it comes to the fascism remarks that he loves to complain about, he's called this U.S. government under Biden fascist. So yeah, it's pure hypocrisy to me.
To begin to bring the coarseness down.
Look, I certainly agree with Mark on this, but we also have to keep in mind that the President of the United States has been using very divisive rhetoric for a long time. But I'm hoping that we can have a reset here. I mean, it is bad on both sides. Everyone needs to chill and realize that there is more that unites us in this country than divides us. I was very happy to see President Trump on Saturday evening when he gave a press conference strike a very conciliatory tone. I'm hoping that will continue. It feels like some of his surrogates today have been on TV very on message in a way that is not helpful. But both sides just need to come together and realize the more divisive rhetoric that comes out of the left and the right, the more people are going to be in danger.
But it's not just rhetoric.
No, I can agree with that to a certain extent. I believe that Trump, as the leader of this country, should be leading the way. Over the past few months, you can look at some of the rhetoric that's come from Trump as antagonistic, violent in some sense. He's even celebrated the passing of a political rival. Like, that's the president of the United States celebrating the passing of a political rival. Like, the standards are in the dirt at this point.
Rhetoric. It's actually policies. We have a president who likes conspicuous cruelty. We saw it in how ICE was operating on the streets. It is why he wants to bring back Alcatraz. It is why he wants to bring back firing squads. It is why he was delighted with his visit to Alligator Alcatraz. And
yes, this administration and this president has no problem expressing cruelty and putting cruelty out there to the world when it comes to using the military to blow people up and put no weight, no nothing, just hurrying up and putting that on social media so people can think that's based or think that's just awesome to do other people. Like, I don't understand like how we can start having this discussion and ignore the things that's coming from the Republican Party at this point. Like, this whole administration is celebrating the suffering of other people, the elimination of other people, talking about it, everything. Like, I don't understand it.
And in fact, when a reporter asked him before he visit to Alligator Alcatraz, and in fact, when a reporter asked him before he traveled to Florida, what was the point to make sure that if they tried to get away, that they would be eaten by alligators? He says, we're going to teach them how to run. And they better not run in a straight line. They better run like this. That conspicuous cruelty and wanting to see that.
That's a wild thing to say, especially for these human beings that are supposed to be in government custody. They're supposed to be in essentially his custody. These are human lives that are in Trump's custody. And he's saying things like this. He has no regard for human life when it comes to certain situations. But all of a sudden, the left needs to tone down the rhetoric. The milquetoast Democrats needs to tone down the rhetoric. Like, these guys are just making attempts at getting somewhat tough when it comes to the political space. And for Trump to just make that claim, well, not even Trump himself, just Trump and everybody around him, they're making the claim that the left needs to tone down. And that's hypocritical. I will stand on that.
And in his first administration, saying that he wanted police officers to rough up people that they arrested before they even got into jail, got a trial. That lust for that is a whole other thing. We can't keep saying like, oh, it's just because people are talking. There are things that are happening that we are seeing, and that is a real thing, and that is contributing to a negative environment in this country.
Is it a both and? I mean, I think they're making the point. There is a lot of violence right now, but it is also true that President Trump is the most powerful megaphone, not to mention person, in this country, and he himself has a very long history of violent rhetoric.
Maximum warfare everywhere, all the time. That was said before and after the last person that just tried to kill Donald Trump.
This is what I'm talking about. The quote that he just said, I believe that was from Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, and that was in reference to the gerrymandering war that Trump started. He was talking about gerrymandering, not any type of political violent war. Hypocritical.
We're going to have more people try to kill Donald
let's-
Trump if we don't stop. I
Let's
just
let me
started
just
talking
well,
about,
let me, well,
about
yeah,
this.
well, you're okay.
I'm
all right.
quoting Hakeem Jeffries,
Yeah,
the leader
well,
of the Democratic
let me
Party.
actually play Hakeem Jeffries in context.
Oh,
just
she
listen
actually
to
got
this.
the clip.
Hakeem Jeffries just this April, this month, said, "We are in an era of maximum warfare everywhere, all the time."
Donald Trump and Republicans launched this gerrymandering war. We are in an era of maximum warfare everywhere, all the time. And we're going to keep the pressure on Republicans in every single state.
You can't trust nothing that comes out of this White House. This lady just straight misrepresented exactly what Hakeem Jeffries said. And they know what he was talking about when he said that. They're just looking for anything to blame to put this on Democrats for some odd reason. But I digress.
In the union to ensure at the end of the day that there is a fair national map.
Governor Josh Shapiro said heads need to roll within the administration.
People have been disappeared in the community. American civil rights have been violated. None of this is acceptable. Heads do need to roll, certainly within the administration.
So the reason I stopped.
We all know what that means, and that's not calling for any type of political violence. He means somebody needs to be fired. Like, let's be honest here.
Is because there's a difference between using an idiom and a figure of speech and calling for violence.
Exactly.
Any person who understands the English language knows that. And I think that is true of that quote that you just read of Hakeem Jeffries and the one that you heard from Josh Shapiro.
There'll be more attacks, and there'll be more conservatives that will be killed if the Democratic Party doesn't wake up and realize that words have meaning and they light the fuse. It has happened to too many people.
Okay, so what happens when only one side just stops talking and responding to all the violent rhetoric that's coming from the right and the president himself? Like, what happens after that? Like, if Democrats just stop responding to some of the most atrocious things that's being said and some of the lowering of standards that's coming from the highest office in this country, we're not supposed to say anything? The most minute, the most milquetoast of criticisms, they're calling attacks and violent rhetoric.
Including Charlie Kirk, a friend of mine. You can't sit here and have Joe Biden say that Donald Trump, quote, is a clear and present danger to democracy, and then have surrogates
Is that
back
not
there.
true?
I mean,
But he is.
The American people don't believe that. They elected him
Do
again.
you believe it?
I don't believe he's a clear and present danger to this country. I think he's a savior for this country.
I absolutely
I
do.
believe that you do.
And I believe that a lot of Americans do, too.
But I think
and calling something what it is not an incitement to violence.
It is for the people trying to kill Donald Trump.
No.
In the manifesto, it said that is why they were trying to kill Donald Trump. Read their words in their manifesto. They will tell you it is because of what you're saying.
It is a very easy thing for me to say that a violent person behaving violently is wrong. It is a very easy thing.
But I'll give them the
I'm sorry, I'll finish. And it is a very easy thing for me to say that political violence does not belong in our politics, and it is a sign of an unhealthy democracy. But I will never take lessons in civility from this president and this White House when they have engaged in the very same thing.
Attack and try to kill the president.
And conservatives did not want to connect Donald Trump's rhetoric to Charlottesville. They did not.
No, it was Southern
Poverty
Law Center that paid for that violence. By the way, we learned that last week. I could agree with you. That was Southern Poverty Law Center.
They did not want to connect him to January 6th and his rhetoric and all the things that he said around January 6th to that violence. They did not get upset with him when he pardoned all of the January 6th rioters. They did not.
Therefore, it is justifiable in America to go kill the president of the United States of America.
What I'm trying to say, you to understand is that
that is the wildest straw man, and he just gets away with this on live television. This is what I'm talking about. Like, okay, it's okay to ask for accountability from the left, but also acknowledge the need for self-accountability. And this is the lack of a backbone that a lot of people, even in the middle, are currently seeing with the MAGA and conservative movement, is the lack of a backbone to acknowledge, hey, Trump needs to tone down too. Why is it impossible for people on the right, some of the new, what you would call it, the neo-establishment right, people like this guy, they refuse to come on live television and critique Trump even if they know it's for the betterment of this country. It's for the betterment of democracy in this country. Like, it's wild to me because it's obvious to see, like, this is, you see this in elementary schools. You see this like from adolescent kids, like the refusal to acknowledge the behaviors of your own side of the political spectrum is a glaring oversight.
Hypocrisy does not feel good to Americans to that violence. They did not get upset with him when he pardoned all of the January 6th rioters. They did not.
It's justifiable in America to go kill the president of the United States of America.
What I'm trying to say, you should understand, is that hypocrisy does not feel good to Americans, and they reject it.
I go back to court
Let me just say, Ben, nobody here has justified the attempts against President Trump's life or anybody's life.
There's new polling data that's out that say that there's about 20% of young Democrats in this country that think political violence is acceptable. Could that be because we have normalized demonizing the sitting president of the United States of America and calling him Adolf Hitler, or saying he's a threat to democracy, or saying that he's an evil man, or saying
called him Adolf Hitler.
Again, I go back. Did he take it back?
Did he take it back? Yes,
and
he got something out of it.
Oh wait, the guy's not Adolf Hitler.
He got something out of it.
Like him. He works for them.
If I had a payoff out of it, I would take it back too.
This is why they will never stop trying to kill Donald Trump, because there is no bullet that can be shot at him that somehow is not justified by the left, saying, well, somehow it's Donald Trump's fault.
Well, look,
Wait a second. These are two different things. Nobody is blaming Trump for his own assassination attempt, unless you believe in some of the conspiracy theories, of course. But this is like two adults coming to a table, right? The Republicans are asking for Democrats to be accountable for some of their rhetoric. Okay, fine. The Democrats respond. Okay, fine. Your leader on the Republican side has been saying some wild stuff also. Can we address that? The Republican side will say, what? I haven't heard anything. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the issue that we're constantly running into when it comes to political discourse. Even for an independent trying to have just normal political discourse with the Republican side or the conservative side, is that they feign ignorance on purpose.
Going to try to kill him forever if y'all keep this up.
I will say this until I'm blue in the face. No one at this table has
justified
any violence against President Trump.
Abby,
and so I think that with all due respect, making those kinds of generalizations only coarsens the dialogue that we're trying to have. And look, if your argument
The
is
entire
that
table
if
tonight's
you're
been
hold
criticizing
on,
Trump
hold on.
after he got
if
shot
your
at.
argument is that the totality of the circumstances are simply what is being said about Donald Trump, that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, whatever. Let me just play this. This is Caroline Levitt. She's accusing Democrats of what you're accusing them of, and then listen to the rest of this.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, President Trump is making the country look like a, quote, fascist state. Senator Adam Schiff saying President Trump using a dictator playbook. Senator Ed Markey calling President Trump a dictator, saying that this administration's actions are authoritarianism on steroids.
We're living in a fascist.
I just want to be clear. Those are not calling for any type of political violence. Those are statements critiquing a person's way of leadership, critiquing a person's way of running an administration. Like, call a dog a dog.
Steroids.
We're living in a fascist state. It all comes out of the White House. Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country. There's a radical left Marxist, communist, fascist. She's a Marxist. She's a fascist. Comrade Kamala Harris.
So look, the point is that
Republicans can't call what Democrats are saying violent without calling what we just heard violent. Like, let's live in the real world, people. Any logical mind that can stay unbiased can understand both. If you have a problem with one of these things, you must also have a problem with the other. That's how logic works. Just because the political spectrum or the face of the person changes doesn't mean your logic should change with them. But then again,
it's not that Donald Trump is responsible for violence against those people. The point is that it's not enough to explain the moment that we are in. It's just, did he call her a fascist? Did she call him a fascist? Because that is happening on both sides of the debate. There is more that is contributing to where we are as a country, and it is bad. It is unquestionably bad. And if we fail to actually address the root causes, we are going nowhere.
I would say this.
this.
If we want to bring the country together, since Donald Trump was actually shot, has he toned down his rhetoric, or has he raised the rhetoric?
It has been.
It is definitely toned down from 2016 to 2020.
It has been 48 hours.
No, I said the first time when he was shot in the ear.
Since he's been president again, I think he's been a little bit more unhinged with his tweets and his calls for death by treason and stuff like that. Like, yeah, he's been calling for things like that just because of political speech. So yeah, I don't think he's toned down anything since he's been president again.
Has his rhetoric gone up or down?
All right,
I agree with you. In 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, he was way more in your face. You look at a guy that was shot at again the other night, and he went much calmer.
Look,
much calmer. And yet you still say, well, this is somehow Donald Trump's fault.
We have more on this topic because there's more on this topic. But to answer your question, has Donald Trump's behavior changed?
What should you have said the other night differently?
This is to Juliet's point. It's not any one particular moment. It is the totality of circumstances.
Maybe if we could just sort of switch the conversation, just look going forward. And does anyone at this table believe that Trump can lead, because he is the leader of the United States, towards a less violent rhetoric?
No, Trump will not be able, not unless Trump has a real come to Jesus moment and like has some type of mental change or something like that. Trump is Trump and he's going to stay Trump, and he is not going to be, well, I don't see it, me personally, and this is me purely speaking opinion. I don't see Trump just coming out and saying, hey, let's all get together. I apologize for my rhetoric in the past, and let's all come together and be Americans. I don't see that happening. I hope it happens. I just want to see this country prosper. But everything that I've seen of Trump over the past, 15, 16 years, nah, he's not that type of guy. But yeah, let me go ahead and wrap this video up. I appreciate y'all for watching, and y'all have a good one.